with Edwin Allen from Jamaica as we get underway with the high school small schools 4x8 prelim heats. The top 12 will advance to the final.
Yeah, this event was won by Edwin Allen in 2019 in a blistering 8:54. They're the top seed, having run 8:49 earlier this year in Jamaica. Union Catholic out of New Jersey, also a team to watch in this heat, ran a 9:20 as a team at the Arcadia Invitational in California. Teams had to be capable of running 9:50 to get into this race, so unlike the 4x1s and 4x4s, a select crew of small school competitors. And Phil, as we come around the first turn, already strung out a bit, heading into 400 meters.
Before we went live, we had the opportunity to talk with our colleague in this broadcast, Olivia Ekpone. She's going to be doing a lot of the interviews, in fact, all the interviews with the victors throughout this three-day carnival. And she talked about the winds being pretty much straight line from the open end of Franklin Field to the closed end. So down the back straight, Brandon, they're going to get a little bit of a push as we have a 6-team breakaway separated by about 8 meters of open track.
Very fast first 400 through in 65 seconds for that lead group. That would put them on 2:10 pace, which is a very, very quick race for the high school girls. As we still a little bit of movement, that's Edwin Allen in the front with Padua up on the shoulder.
Down with 1:50 to go, the first exchange zone right in front of our vantage point here at Franklin Field. And just like in any relay, Brandon, exchanges are very important. You can help keep that momentum going along the track and keep your team in front or narrow the gap on another squad.
Especially in a race with this many teams, 16 of them in this heat. For the leaders, they'll be okay, but some traffic might come in the back of the pack.
Edwin Allen from Clarendon, Jamaica. 2:16 high on the clock, the opening split. And as Brandon said, they are no stranger to excellence in this event. One of my favorites on the track, the 4x8. Again, so much movement throughout this race, Brandon. We're expecting to see in these prelim heats. And again, they have to run hard, they have to run fast to have the opportunity to run for a wheel.
Absolutely. You mentioned the championship later this weekend. In previous years, you have to run in the neighborhood of 9:25 to get into that heat, which really makes you look for the top 2, top 3 places in each heat, as it's small and large schools combined, so we'll have 4 sections. Edwin Allen will make it looks like they look very comfortable in this second leg. Union Catholic the same in second. But then we have 4 teams vying for third place, and those are the ones that are going to be right on the cusp of making it into the final.
Pretty even gap between first and second and third. You see the splits, 2:16.57 was the opening number for our leaders, Edwin Allen. 1 lap to go on this second leg. So Edwin Allen, then Union Catholic. The margins close slightly to about 10, but then the opening between second and third has grown. That is a solid 20-plus meters, Brandon.
Absolutely. That's St. John's College from Washington, D.C. back in third. Union Catholic, the top time so far this year in New Jersey, closing in from second up toward Edwin Allen in first. If they can get this leg close and give their third leg a chance, we might see a race to the finish here.
Again, that's what we're expecting to see, those kicks to the line, whether it's early in a 4x or at the conclusion when they run for the time and run for the place and hopefully run for finals as we're doing today. Jessica McLean was listed as a number 2 runner for Edwin Allen, and she's holding off Union Catholic coming up to the exchange zone for the second time.
It looked like she had a little bit of extra juice in that last 150 as they come to the exchange. You know, these athletes know they have another race coming. They're expecting to make it to that championship final, so if you have the legs to run 2:10, if you go out at more 2:15, 2:16 pace and close hard, that's a good recipe to save a little bit, have a little bit in the legs for that championship race where you'll not only see Union Catholic again, but you'll see some of the other top schools from the heats that are on the way.
8 meters the gap between first and second. There was a margin of 1.3 seconds after the first 800-meter leg. Now that gap is down to 0.61. Edwin Allen so far looking for a wire-to-wire run in the first of nearly 300 races this weekend at Franklin Field. And as I mentioned in the opening, back in 1895, it was just, I believe, a rival competition between a couple of schools to dedicate this facility along South 33rd Street. But now they bring them in from multiple countries. Again, the gap, about 10 meters. And if you've never seen a competition at Franklin Field, you'll notice that they're running out in lane 4 along the rail. So again, as we set up the relays, some may start inside the rail, then come out to the rail, and that is the 400-meter oval.
Part of the reason for that is here, if you run on lane 1, it's a very tight turn. So by, in these relays, making lane 4 sort of the de facto lane 1, it makes it a bit more of a gentle turn, especially in these distance races where you're starting in a waterfall anyway, and you don't need to necessarily use all of the lanes.
As you mentioned, normally a track put around a football field is elongated and really tight in the corners, but because of those modifications, they're able to make that, as you said, gentler turns. Again, hopefully equates to faster times, especially in the sprints. Edwin Allen starting to open it up just a little bit as we go to the baton exchange for the last time. The opening race, the 4x8 relay, small schools. 6:56, and they have a solid 4-second lead going into the anchor leg.
A 2:18.5 split for Edwin Allen, a couple seconds faster than their second leg, and a very even 67, about 70 on the return lap, and this anchor leg already opening up a little bit more of a gap on Union Catholic.
I had a conversation coming into the stadium with one of the photographers as part of the mile split and FloTrack team about the performances at the Penn Relays, sometimes for those American high school teams eclipsing what they do at their state meet, just because of the atmosphere, because of the competition, that you'll see 4x8s here today and through the weekend that, again, sometimes are faster than gold medal times at the state meets.
Absolutely, they're fresh coming into today's race too, the first event of the day. And as you're doing some of the prep for this race, you know, the teams that run 9:40, 9:50 so far this year, but if you add up those open splits, some of them have a few seconds to gain.
Union Catholic has cut the margin just a little bit. It's under 4 seconds at the bell. As Union Catholic now within 20 meters of Edwin Allen. This is only a prelim, but again, you want to make certain you have that spot. And they're going for the win. 8 meters back now. Union Catholic from New Jersey. Five meters as the hunt is on for Union Catholic. 2 strides behind Edwin Allen. They're going to take this one to the line for the first time this weekend at the 126th running of the Penn Relays. And the crowd already on their feet. Union Catholic's anchor kicking to win this first section of the high school small schools 4x8, 9:13.08.
What a final leg for Union Catholic. 2:12.5 on that finishing split. Gained 5 seconds on Edwin Allen's anchor, who finished with a 2:17. As Padua Academy from Delaware comes to the line with another big leg too, a 2:16 leg. They were back in 5th or 6th earlier in this race. Some strong running by the anchors.
So Union Catholic faced a deficit of about 4 seconds going into the anchor leg. They win by 81 hundredths as Peyton Hollis listed as the anchor runner for Union Catholic. Again, 2:12. What an anchor. Brandon, you mentioned after the first lap they were at 65, 210 pace. They really didn't dial it back too much all the way through these 4 legs.
Yeah, absolutely. First and final legs both well under 220. Just above 220 for those middle 2 legs. A 7-second season best over what they ran at Arcadia, which is no meet to scoff at. That's one of the biggest high school meets of the season as well. So a really strong showing to start off the day from Union Catholic.
And again, a number of state meets the last weekend in May, others a week after, some of the warmer states hitting those state finals earlier. And we take another look at that final kick. Union Catholic down by 4 seconds heading into the anchor leg. There she is, Peyton Hollis, doing the work for Union Catholic from Scotts Plains, New Jersey.
Such a long, strong stride. Really no showing any signs of fatigue as